And you're live.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Hartford School Building Committee meeting, November 20th, 2023. Call this meeting to order at 12:06 p.m. Number one on the agenda, everyone, is the welcome and roll call. Mr. Little,
Mr. Paul Drummond,
present.
Councilman Clark, Mr. Al Gary,
Present.
Mr. Edison Silva,
Present.
Ms. Jahari Ashkrabano, Mr. Clarence Corbin, Ms. Shantae Brody.
Present.
Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Brody, yes.
Okay.
Councilman Clark is on his way into the meeting.
Oh, he is. Okay.
And I believe Mr. Corbin is here. I believe I saw him. Okay. All right.
Well, we're going to say we have four. If Mr. Corbin is here, if he's just muted, so we do have a quorum, so we can begin.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate you. All right, everyone. Number two on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes from the October 16th, 2023 meeting. Is there a motion?
So move.
Okay, Mr. Silva. Second?
Second.
Mr. Gary.
Yes.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Councilman
Aye.
Clark. Ms. Browdy. Okay, Mr. Corbin. All right, everyone, thank you. So the next item on the agenda is item number 3, public participation. I apologize. That is 2, 3, 4. That is 6 ayes, and with Ms. Escribano not present, we have 6 ayes and the motion carries. Apologies. All right, item number 3 is public participation. Little note here, due to the use of remote meeting format due to COVID protocols, public participation will be supported throughout the duration of the meeting by using comments function on either YouTube, Facebook, or by emailing comments directly to me, Paul, at paul.drummy@hartford.gov prior or during the meeting. At this time, I ask Mr. McCauley if there's any questions online.
There are no questions or comments.
Thank you, Stan. Appreciate you. All right, everyone. The next item number 4 on the agenda is administrative. The one bullet we have under administrative is the designation of the superintendent's alternate. Today we have Chief Davis Gouge with us, who will be the superintendent's alternate on this committee. We welcome her in her time. Any questions, comments? Okay, while not listed underneath administrative, I want to ask the committee a question. And I'm wondering if it would be more efficient if we did a roll call vote versus the aye, the nay, and the abstention. Given that we're in a virtual format, if I were to call the name and you put your vote in, it would be, I feel, more efficient, and wanted to know what the committee's thought on the matter was.
Mr. Chair, I have no problem with that.
Okay, thank you, Councilman.
I either, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gary. All right, so we'll go after every motion. I'll do a roll call vote. I'll list the names and you'll state your position. Thank you, everyone. All right, item number 5 on the agenda is the current projects under construction, Arcadis O&G CNR program management. Item 5A, action items. Jack Butkus, please take it away.
All right, thank you. First item of business today in action items is change order number 15 to Newfield Construction for the Buckley High campus. Items here have been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee and result in a credit to the projects of $23,112. And we ask the committee affirm the change order committee's action.
All right, Jack, thank you. Is there a motion?
So move.
Edison? Mr. Silva? Second by Councilman Clark. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Browdy?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Corbin?
Mr. Corbin is just getting readmitted to the meeting. I guess he dropped out.
Okay. Mr. Gary?
Yes.
Chief Davis Gouge?
Yes,
Okay,
my first official vote.
great work.
Happy to be a member of the team. Thanks all.
Branch.
And it's a credit to boot, Sherry, so that's a wonderful thing.
Okay, is Mr. Corbin joined us again, Jack? I can't see.
Yes.
Mr. Corbin, we just voted on the change order, the credit change order in your screen. We're doing a roll call vote. Yay, nay, abstain?
Where did he go? Oh, here he is. He's here, but
Sir?
and he's not.
Clarence, can you hear us? All right. All right, why don't we move on with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With 6 yeses, the motion carries. Next item, Jack?
Next item up is a purchase order decrease to Red Thread Spaces for the central admin portion of the Buckley project. This will zero out their purchase order based on work that is not required at the swing space location for central office. Results in a credit of $7,569.97. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee. And yes, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a motion?
So move. Okay, yeah, this is Tony.
Okay, Mr. Gary, second.
Second.
Mr. Edison Silva. Okay, discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Corbin. Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Gary. Oh, there we are.
You got
Yes.
me?
I got you. You're up and
Okay.
running. All right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Gary.
Yes.
Okay. Chief Davis Gouge.
Yes,
All right. Thank you. With 6 yeses and 1 abstention, Ms. Escobar not being here, the motion carries. Jack?
Next item is change order number 17 to PDS for the Burns project. These are items that had been approved under the direct approval method, but endorsed again by the change order committee at our last meeting. Total value is $6,107, including a small credit and some expenditure against CM contingency. Again, reviewed and approved by the change order committee, and we ask for endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Yeah, here we go. Yes.
Did I hear Chief Davis Gouge motion?
That was TJ. That was Councilman Clark. Yeah.
Okay, Councilman Clark? Second,
Second.
Mr. Gary?
Yes.
Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
thank you. Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Corbin,
Yes.
Mr. Gary,
Yes.
Chief Davis Gouge.
yes,
All right. With that, the motion carries. Next, Jack, please.
Next, we have a purchase order increase to Sustainable Engineering Solutions, Amendment Number 1 to their contract in the value of $3,000. This is to provide thermal scanning of the roof over the pre-K wing at Burns. We're verifying whether there are any damages. The roof is still under warranty, but in order to ensure that the project will have a 20-year remaining life, we're looking at this particular area, which was not destined to be replaced under the base scope of the project, to be able to meet our obligations to the state for renovate as new requirements. This has been reviewed and approved by the Change Order Committee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Chief Davis-Cruz, thank you. Second?
I'll second that.
Second.
Mr. Corbin, thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Corbin,
Yes.
Mr. Gary,
Yes.
Chief Davis-Cruz.
Yes.
All right. 6 yeses, the motion carries. All right, Jack, I think that was it for action items.
That is it for action items for us. Next up is project reports.
Thank you for that.
First item up is for the Buckley campus. You see our tabulation of schedules and budgets. Right now, we're still holding pat to the values previously approved and the schedule previously confirmed. As far as our EEO status is concerned, we are wrapping up phase 5 and phase 7 is ongoing at the Buckley campus. We are far exceeding our MWBE component, and we're comfortably ahead of our Hartford residency goals as well. When it comes to Burns, as has been the case throughout the project, we are well exceeding our MWBE employment, and we are clawing back little by little against towards our 30% goal for Hartford residents. Again, with the small work areas, it's been difficult to get larger work crews on the project, but we continue to make progress with the project with the assistance of the labor unions, and working a little bit closer to 30% every month. Next, please.
Before you move on, Jack, may I make a comment?
Sure.
Thank you very much. I'd like to underscore you're making inroads as to the Hartford residency as you do all these other categories. However, the emphasis I like to place on this is that you guys have not stopped and said, okay, we've done what we can do here, let's just move on. You continue to work at this, and it should be known that this is a constant effort on the parts of our project manager. Thank you very much.
All right, for the Buckley campus, both the high school and central admin budgets are before you. We've paid to date just over 29 million on the school side, almost 16 million on the central admin side, with some remaining encumbrances. Project balance yet to be encumbered, about 11 million on the high school side, a little over $1 million on central admin. Next page. Progress, you'll see some images of some foundation work for the new main entry to the high school itself, and the new skin is proceeding on the high school proper, this image being of the gymnasium area. We have mobilized the majority of, or a good portion of the contractors for phase 7. Phase 5 should be completed in the month of November with the demolition and abatement of the building skin coming to fruition. We have critical items, or continue to be some issuance of trade contracts, the MDC utility permits, and obviously one item that haunts us on each project is the availability of long lead items. Right now, material purchases are being consummated after review of shop drawings. And right now it appears as though our lead times are consistent with what we were being told. but as the months click on, we'll be able to get closer to an actual delivery date on those items. Next, please. For Burns, we've paid almost $25 million to date, which is about half of the current encumbrance. We got a project unencumbered balance of $4.4 million. That includes contingencies, furniture, equipment, and technology. As far as the renovation, you'll see some images of the gymnasium that was turned over for use. We've got pavement for the new pre-K entry road that has been completed. And we continue to work through the various work areas. Work area 3, the second floor of the middle school wing, is currently under construction. Portions of area 1, the boys and girls locker room, were just turned over, but unfortunately we do not yet have power on in those areas, so they're being used for swing space storage, moving furniture into those areas while we take over different areas for construction. We did confirm late last week that we have now received 100% of the electrical switchgear components, and that installation is underway. So as soon as we do have permanent power available, we'll be able to turn over additional areas of the building as we work through the additional work areas. Work area 4, the middle school wing first floor, is currently active, and we continue to make progress upstairs. As you'll see, various items of site work and miscellaneous are proceeding. In that under miscellaneous, that number now from 85% is now 100% of the electrical switchgear components. And phase 4, the playgrounds, will begin discussion on the design of that. And we expect to turn over area 3 in January of 24. Now that the switchgear is available, we'll be pressing to be able to turn the lights on as soon as possible there. Any questions on Buckley or Burns at this stage?
Jack, if you could explain the low percentage of encumbrances on the central administration as it relates to what's remaining for build out?
Not so much a low commitment on encumbrances. We have a project. Well, maybe Emily, you can speak to the. I guess the 17.9 is what is unspent of what has been encumbered.
The 17.9 that you see as an encumbrance balance, it means that you've encumbered 33 million and change, and you have left of that 33 million, 17 million. The project balance, which includes your owner contingency and some uncommitted balances that we could have for either commissioning, architect, OPM, those are balances that are remaining. As we close out purchase orders for services that are complete and we have any PO balances, you will see that number grow, just like you just authorized the technology line. So that will increase by that credit.
Right. So let me reframe, and I apologize. I kind of misspoke a little bit, Jack. So on the 17 million remaining out of the 33, almost 34 encumbered, what is left to do at the central administration?
Central admin is the catch-all phrase that includes not only the central office space, but things such as the commissary and other areas that are district support services that are within the high school building itself. So we're parsing portions of each of the trade contracts to go into those buckets that are district functions rather than high school functions.
Yeah. So you have a whole new building as a part of what's remaining.
Yes, part of that almost 18 million is the commissary not yet built. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Jack. Next on the agenda, any other questions before I move on? For Buckley and Burns? Hearing none. Item number 6 is current projects under design. Collier's project leaders, right?
Excuse me, Paul, we still have the 90-day look ahead next.
I apologize. Carry on, Jack.
Okay. As you see, for For Buckley, continuing to install site utilities, continuing with foundation and concrete work. The MEP coordination and some installations are underway. The west wall of the commissary is a large retaining wall on the Weathersfield Avenue side of the building, so that will be continuing. And again, through December and January, site utilities, pile foundations, etc., will continue on. And within the work of the high school itself, continued MEP rough ends above ceiling predominantly, as well as interior wall framing continues. We will see some of the commissary foundations by January, and then as I mentioned, that retaining wall west of the commissary will continue into the wintertime months. Moving to Burns, Area 3, as I mentioned, will be completed and turned over as soon as we can power it. Moving into December, first floor wing of the 39 building will continue on, finishes proceeding, and then mill work, permanent electrical, and then finishes moving into other areas of Area 3 as we go through December and into the new year. All right, and we'll hand it over to Colliers.
Okay.
Thanks, Jack. With that, the first thing we have on our agenda is looking at the WISP project, taking that, knowing that the state has not allowed us to go as a renovate as new project. They gave us a choice of going to either alteration or no. The alteration project would cost about $72 million, but it also results in a lot of ineligible costs. A lot, I'm talking maybe 30–40% of that $72 million. The other option they gave us was replacing the school at $65 million, which is pretty straightforward. We take down the old school, we put a new one up. So the funds we expended to date will still be eligible, it's still part of the programming status. We did go through some schematic design process, but ultimately most of the work we did was preliminary to set up the schools as to what square footage was going to be used, where it was going to be used, and how we're going to use it. So that's what's in front of the school, the Hartford School Building Committee today, is to approve the design process changing from a renovation project to a new replacement project. And the biggest reason the different costs, not to go back there, biggest reason the difference in cost between new and renovation is properly sizing the building. The property size building is about 71,000 square feet, with the existing school right now is 91,000 square feet. So as we went through the numbers, it was pretty obvious that a new building would cost us less, to the tune of about $10 million. So with that, our recommendation is to approve the design process change from a renovation project to a new replacement project. And this new project would include a properly sized building.
Before I bring it to the floor, Ray, I just kind of want to, there was so much more than this brief summary that went on in trying to evaluate and get us to the point where we are. A tremendous amount of effort from Hartford Public Schools, the Board of Education, the city, the program manager, to understand what the city and Hartford Public Schools options were. And the reality was, after a long pause, after submitting the question to the state and them finally coming back to us and letting them know what their stance was, the reality was they were not going to support the city of Hartford. And we're rehashing this. We discussed this last month. We left it at Councilman Clark and Ms. Browdy and Mr. Gary. What can we do about, the auditorium is such a community asset. So we have not forgot about that. And in this statement of kind of having the project team start designing new does not mean that the considerations have stopped. So a few things, we went before the board. Board member Ms. Browdy was there to have the edited ed specs approved by the board so we could resubmit to the state for new construction. During that process, Scott Pellman, who is with us today, kind of explained to the board what we're going to be considering as we go through this process. And one of those considerations was how can the design team, attach to the existing auditorium? Another option was how can we design the actual structure itself, so in the future, if there is an opportunity to capture funding to build the auditorium, the school itself would be able to accept it with all the existing structure in place. So we heard loud and clear from the community and from this committee the importance of this asset to the city, and I just want to make sure that this quick motion isn't that, right? It is so much more than just giving the project team the permission to get going, right? Because we still do need to design a school and get these kids out of the temp space and back into the school that they deserve. With that, is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Motion.
Mr. Corbin, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Silva? Discussion.
Just for clarification, so the $65 million is going to exclude the renovation to the auditorium? Is that clear?
That's right. It's the renovation to the auditorium is not included in that bucket of money because they won't support it.
Okay.
Clarence,
Sure.
it's something that the city would have to understand how it would ever support the renovation and or building of new.
And the 65 includes the demolition of the existing building. That's clear?
That's
That is
accurate. Yep.
Accurate. Okay.
I'm sorry, this is very important to me, and I was not in the room at the time that this was discussed. Could you just give me a very, very brief update? What is not happening with the auditorium?
So before I even brought it forward, Al, I kind of gave a little bit more than what this letter before you reads, and that is what the city and this committee, where we left it last, right? Councilman Clark, yourself, and Ms. Browdy made it loud and clear that this auditorium was a community asset, and what could we do? How could we think of ways to A, keep it and attach the new construction to, or B, somehow in the, design the actual structure to accept a new auditorium in the future. And I spoke about how we brought this before the Board of Education, the edited ed specs for approval as a part of the resubmission to the state to do new construction versus renovate as new. And then I really emphasized, Al, the how we heard you and Councilman Clark and Ms. Browdy about the importance of this structure, and that while we're motioning to have the design team pick up their pencils so we don't lose any more time and start the design of the new construction, that doesn't mean that the final is set in stone yet. Okay.
If I may, Chair Drummy?
Please, Chief Davis-Cruz.
I just put in, so certainly the auditorium was a huge consideration for Hartford Public Schools. And in the revised ed spec, I just put into the meeting chat, I'll read it out loud, where we talk about the auditorium. And there's language in the revised ed spec that says the design should consider maintaining the existing auditorium or include provisions for a future auditorium for up to 400 students as a bid alternate. So we did want to capture the goal of maintaining an auditorium or having an auditorium in that building.
Okay, thank you very much.
I do have a question, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I was under the impression that the state would not support auditoriums for elementary schools. Is that still the case, or?
That's accurate, Mr. Silva.
The state puts forth some standards for elementary schools, and that's one of the things that they do not support. What they do support is putting a platform in either the gymnasium or the cafeteria and calling it a gymnasium or a cafetorium. So it does give you meeting space, but it's not as big as the auditorium.
So this is something that in reality the design team would take in consideration as we move forward?
My discussions with the design team, yes, is to look at the auditorium. Let's see how we can make it work. If we leave it there, understand it's not being funded by the school construction process. So they'll end up resizing the infrastructure, make sure there's enough water for fire sprinklers, make sure there's enough or chilled water, heated water going to the boiler, to the air handling units and stuff like that.
How is this woven into their fee, Ray?
How does what?
How is this ask of the design group woven into their structured fee?
Their fee right now, we've expended the schematic drawings portion of their fee, so we'll have to go back to the drawing board and start schematic drawings again. Also, we're adding a lot more. We're adding a structured component to their fee, as well as some geotechnical efforts that they're going to need to do for a new building.
All right. So, Ray, there's going to be an amendment coming before the committee
Right.
for design services.
Right.
Yeah, and the intent is that amendment will have a separate value for the planning and schematic design of the auditorium. So we're going to break that number out to continue to track that separately while we work through the avenues to see, how that portion of the project is going to progress.
Okay, thank you, Stan. That's important. Okay, thank you.
We will word that amendment so it's not ineligible as far as the state goes by.
Okay. Ms. Browdy?
Yes, question, are we in our design planning to have the stage in what they call the gymnatorium? Is that a part of the design?
Yes.
Thank you.
Whatever, that's a continuation of your question. I have whatever that means, the stadium built into the cafeteria is very small. It will be very small. It's not set up to seat all the students at one time, I don't think. Is that correct, Ray?
That is correct.
Okay.
You usually have different ways going to the cafeteria.
Okay. So
I don't recall if it's 2 or 3 on this one. Yeah.
Well, and Ray, if I may, I believe the design team is also exploring, the other option is you put the stage onto the gymnasium,
Right.
which is a much larger space, which could accommodate the full student population. So I don't believe a final direction's been given on that. But, typically if that is one of the criteria, then we would recommend, and have seen this done successfully on a number of projects, creating a gymatorium.
Not only that, Scott, but it also doesn't affect lunch waves if you were to have some sort of function. Yeah, if you were to put it in the gym.
Okay.
Your cafeteria is about 3,000 square feet, by the way, Al.
3,000. All right. Okay. For the listening. Okay. All right. Okay. That's not small, but that includes is that just the seating area? Or does that also include the food preparation area?
That's just the seating area.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry. And the gym, by the way, is about 5,200 square feet.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Councilman Clark, did you want
Thank
to?
you, Mr. Chair. Through you, is the cafeteria slated to still be where it currently is in the school, or is it going to be shifted?
It's going to be shifted. Well, it's a brand new school. We're going to start out with a brand new square footage with 71,000 square feet, and we're going to align it most where it's most advantageous to the school.
And so just to help me as far as clarity, is the structure of the school going to remain and you're just going to go in and gut everything out?
No, there's enough asbestos in this building that's dropped in between the CMU walls that the structure is coming all the way down.
All the way down, so total demolition.
Correct.
Okay.
And that'll be an issue that we'll have to address if we stick to the auditorium stay in place.
Now, quick question. Is the auditorium listed as on the historical list?
No.
Okay.
Do we know how many times we use the auditorium per year for the community? Do we have a list of that? I was curious.
I haven't seen one.
I can check on that.
Yeah. I don't need that answer now, Chief. All right. Any other discussion? That will do a roll call vote. Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Ms. Browdy?
Yes.
Just making sure Ms. Escobanos hasn't joined us. Okay. Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Corbin?
Yes.
Mr. Gary?
Yes.
Chief Davis Gouge?
Yes.
And thank you, everyone. The motion carries. Additional note is Colliers, myself, Chief David Gouge are attending the NRZ meeting tonight. Helen Nixon asked us to attend, so we're going to go give an update on WISH. Okay. All right, Ray.
That gets us in our project summaries. Next slide. So you're looking at all the budget changes that we've been working through. We submitted all those budget changes to the state last month. The priority list comes out in December with approval in June. The only thing that changes here, even with WISH, we're still planning on doing our demolition in June, which keeps us on schedule. The only unfortunate part, our completion date gets kicked out a year. Next slide. Nothing changes here. We haven't started construction. Next slide. This is where we are with Betances. Our budget presently is 43.7. We're looking to bring it up to $66.8 million. We've contracted to date $4.4 million. We paid to date $948,700. We're still on schedule. We're looking to have DDs in place this month, so we can start in December. We're going to go through estimating and being able to go in front of the state reviews in January. So I will be bringing it in front of the committee back in January again to look at the design developments. We'll go through that whole process. Part of this design, we're also adding 8 portable classrooms that are going to be on the site so we can provide some swing space for the schools. Right now, we're talking with the school system to decide how we're going to do that. Again, the EDO 49R was submitted. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Chairman, through you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Please go ahead, Chief.
Just a quick, just wording clarification. So not 8 separate portables, right, Mr. Wiley? We're talking about a temporary building that will house 8 classrooms?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Being a tight site, it's something we're dealing with administration on quite a bit. Okay, we've started the planning and zoning process. We're going in front of the Planning Board of Appeals in December the 5th to talk about how some of the variances we have to do in this project. Any questions? Next page is our 90-day look ahead. We've got this building committee we're doing right now, design development packages we're doing the end of November. We're going through Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals on the 5th, going through the regular Planning and Zoning meeting on the 12th, which will get us final approval. We're hoping in January. It may be kicked out to February, depending on how they look at the the February meeting. I'm sorry, the December meeting, because it's so close to Christmas. A lot of times they'll cancel those meetings. This is what I understand. One thing to note: the January meeting, it does fall on Martin Luther King Day, So we'll need to look at rescheduling that.
For you, Mr. Chair,
Yes, please.
just for Mr. Wiley's knowledge, that will be a Tuesday meeting.
Okay.
So it'll be the 16th.
Yeah, both January and February will be Tuesday meetings. Is that right, Mr. Little?
That's correct. The
Thank you.
calendar will be presented at the next meeting.
Thanks.
Okay, good. Get us on the next slide.
Mr. Chair, I have a question on the previous slide.
Of course, Ms. Browdy, please.
So I'm looking for clarification in regards, it was the dates.
Next page. Next slide.
So 11/30, is that design development package due for Betances? Does that mean, explain it a little so I'm not assuming what that means. I guess that
This is the package due from the architect. It gets submitted to both Hartford Public Schools, so for their review, as well as estimating from the construction managers. So during the same process, they go through a design development drawing review where we actually look at the drawing, make sure they can build it and make it work, as well as price it up, make sure we're in budget. So it takes so during the month of December, we'll be going through that process of looking at the documents, make sure it's what we can build, as well as giving the customer what they expect to see, as well as making sure we're on budget.
Okay, so do any reporting comes here to this committee in regards to when bid packages and that process, as far as from contractors, does that come through here or report it here?
Bid packages will come out during the CD stage. They are in the process of starting to put them together as we speak. We have been in front of the looking to put all the minorities onto a package. Just going through, certified all the minority packages to make sure we know who can do what within the city, so the CMs can take that list and help tailor their bid packages to maximize the minority participation.
Ray, if I can.
Go ahead.
Emily, historically, may you please answer Ms. Browdy's question? Or Jack, when it comes to the bid packages themselves?
Yes, Ms. Browdy, are you speaking about when we're actually assigning work to various contractors, or ahead of going out to bid, where the breaking up of the work would be planned? You talking about
I guess I'm more so in not before, and I know I'm not going to use the right terminology, but my concern is the timing of it, because is it accurate to say that if we don't have enough minority participation, that we move on to another process because we're saying we don't have enough minorities to complete the job?
Well, again, the first and foremost, these are construction projects, and as a important but secondary consideration, we're trying to open the doors to as much opportunity in the community as possible, both for MWBE contractors and for local resident and MWBE workers. But even though we had, and you'll recall the concurrent work we had at Weaver as well as MLK, and that concurrent work, put a lot of pressure on those resources because we had, well over $200 million worth of work proceeding at the same time. Again, we don't want to delay the construction of these projects to say, well, our workforce is busy, let's delay bidding for a while, because we know that prices continue to go up. And especially in circumstances like we have the WISH students in swing space, we don't want to protract their residence in a place that they're not intended to be in. So it's a delicate balance, but chances are we would not be delaying moving any of these projects to construction because there are other projects going on concurrently.
Yes, I don't want to leave anyone with the impression that that's, my intent. I'm saying, and not even in particular to Betances. I'm just using this as example because it's before us.
Mhm.
In particular, the upcoming projects, when we do have enough time and we aren't in a situation as you just described. So not in particular to Betances. I clearly understand where we are in our struggles. But as we're moving forward with the new projects, thinking about the timing of it so we can, as described, allow minority contractors to, that are eligible and that could, play a part in it. So I just wanted to make that statement.
Yeah, Ms. Browdy, if I can just give you a sidebar here is we've been reaching out to the Building Trades Training Institute. Yolanda Rivera, the director, has been in contact with the new administration coming in. They in turn I connected them with our Department of Family, Children, Youth, and Recreation liaison, just to really try to do whatever we can to foster our people, get the interest going, and let them know that the opportunities are there. So a lot is being worked on while these projects are coming to bid, in hopes that we can get a lot more Hartford-based contractors on board for these projects coming up.
We're also working with the Minority Construction Council, and we have done an outreach to notify the different contractors that we were out there when we're looking to bid things and put a qualification and have them put qualification packages together. Right now, I've got about 50 qualification packages on my desk, which will help the construction managers decide how to tailor their bid packages to get the maximum results for the MWE requirements.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, Ray.
Okay, next slide. Kennelly, our budget is 51.4 million. We're forecasting to be about 80 million. That's what's in front of the state right now. We've spent $883,900. We're on schedule to have a shovel in the ground in June 2024 and completion still in fall of 2027. We're a little bit further than 35% in the design process. The design development process is almost done. We're expecting to have, again, those packages for estimating and constructability reviews the end of this month. We'll spend the month of December going through them. With the intent, we're going to go through and hit the advisory committee and this committee in January to get approvals to go from design development onto construction documents. We're in the planning and zoning process, and we're expecting priority list to come out with this revised dollars in December 2023. And again, the priority list does get approved in June 2024. Any questions of Kennelly? That was a real quick overview. Time frame is similar to the Betances. We're still looking to design development packages being done for Kennelly in November again. We're going through the planning and zoning process for Kennelly. The variance process here, where Betances we had 2 variances, Kennelly we've got almost 17. It's just because it's such a tight site and we're approaching on every setback imaginable for this site. In January, we're going to go through the advisory committee meetings. We'll put out in front of the NRZs and just inform everybody where we are, what we're going, and make sure we're on, and make sure we inform everybody that we're going to be on budget. Next slide. Wish. We're in the process of restarting the design process. Again, we're looking to do the demolition and abatement. I'm looking for those packages to be in to us in December, so we can go ahead and price it up and go through that process. We do have a state meeting for Wish that we'll need to schedule for the schematics, but that won't be until March. Again, we're looking to have a shovel in the ground with demolition. We will be expecting to have occupancy in the fall of 2027. That does slip a year. Any other questions on Wish? I think we beat that one up pretty good. Next slide, we're starting up the
Ray.
design process. Go ahead.
So going back to Wish's demo timeline, I'm hearing and I'm seeing that decisions need to be understood and made in a swift manner when it comes to the auditorium, right?
Well, it's a design process. If we just keep it as an alternate,
Not design. You have demo and abatement scheduled coming up. When do you?
We're
when are
looking
you
at
going to start abatement and demo?
in June 2024. So we will have to have that package together December 2023.
Which
there
is
is
next
a lot
month,
of
right?
abatement in here. There's a lot of abatement in the walls. They're looking to see if it's really viable to keep it because of all the asbestos that's in the walls and falling down into the block.
I guess my question is how would we have a package ready when we don't know if the existing auditorium's coming down?
I
Right
think,
now-
Paul, I think we'll know that probably sometime in January at the latest. I think, keeping it is going to be certainly a design parameter that the design team is going to have to look at very quickly as far as overall layout, how the remaining new portions of the building would be on site versus taking the whole thing down, building orientation, flow for parent, bus drop off, that. So I think it's probably going to resolve itself quicker than we anticipate, but we'll be looking for the design team to make a final recommendation. But I do think we've got enough time. Either way, the abatement drawings, the building is Ray's pointing out, the building has to be abated before it's torn down. So the abatement portion of that is not going to change. And all it would be is a demolition package saying, abate this existing portion of the building, but don't tear it down. If the choice point was to leave the existing auditorium and incorporate it into a new design.
Understood. Thank you, Scott.
Through your chair, just a quick question.
Please.
So you're saying this would probably be the normal demolition and abatement that would occur, whether the building was going to renovate as new or be rebuilt as new, right? I guess I'm asking a question because aren't we waiting for state approval, final approval, to move forward with the full demolition of the building?
You mean for the dollar wise? We are expecting to put a shovel in the ground in June 2024. Your priority list should be approved in June 2024.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the abatement that begins in December.
No, that's the design. That's the design.
That's the design. Okay, right. I got it. I'm sorry, I missed that.
So the December meeting, I should be able to report to this group here what is more feasible, keeping the auditorium or taking it down. But we are planning on including the auditorium as part of an alternate, or at least being able to reserve the space for the auditorium in the design for the future.
But the physical abatement process won't be bid until the spring, with the construction starting or abatement starting this summer, probably June, July. Sharon.
Correct.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
And that will overlap with a decision on overall in the project. But either way, as I stated, the building needs to be abated first before anything can happen.
Understood. Thank you.
Will the abatement evaluation be separated instead of a lump sum? And would it be amount here and this amount for the auditorium?
We will be separating out. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, question through you.
Please.
Is this costing us extra money to separate and deciding the auditorium part, or even considering the abatement? That's my question.
So, Ray, please.
Yes and no. Design wise, obviously, because we're going to a new building, we are going to have additional services we're going to need to provide for. abatement wise, it's going to cost the same amount to abate the project, whether it's new or existing. We did look at some options to try to take the building down and treat all the waste as being contaminated, but that doesn't fly anymore with DEP. So we do have to abate the building no matter what to start off with. Demolition would be, it's a little more, it's about the same cost wise as selective demolition versus whole building demolition. So it's sort of a wishy-washy answer. I apologize for that because I really don't have the exact numbers for you.
And that would be a concern of mine if the state is saying we're not paying for that. That's clear that they have said that. We haven't heard from the city saying, oh, we're going to pay for, you know, millions in this auditorium. So a concern of mine will be that we're spending money in what if. And I don't know who makes that decision to say, are we moving forward with what we know the state will pay for and not considering what we know they will not pay for? That's all, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Ms. Browder, those are great questions. And I think at this moment, so the building, the structure, if it were to be fully abated and fully demoed, would be a reimbursable cost because the state has deemed this whole facility, auditorium included, as not renovated as newable.
Correct.
Not a word. So that all those demo and abatement costs are reimbursable to the grant. It's just now we kind of need to be, we're trying to delicately mind the human element of this auditorium and making sure that we don't steamroll over the community and make sure that we are informing the stakeholders and the end users properly.
I'm just saying when it comes to the point where we're spending money, we have to make a decision whether we're going to pay more on a design if I heard that correctly, on something that is not going to be paid for. So yeah, it's like a false hope. Oh, let's hold off. Oh, we may get this money, but holding off and hoping we're spending money because we're at somewhere. So I just hope we're being wise about that because.
Yep, and I agree. Yes, it is. And I think, you know, Ray and Scott, if can you give the committee and myself an idea? Could we base our decisions based on rough orders of magnitude to where we could have the information sooner than later to make educated decisions?
By all means. I expect our next meeting to talk about the auditorium and whether it's more economical to take the whole thing down versus just renovate and not renovate, but just to abate what we have there and leave it as a structure.
But I think that the point being here is the additional cost initially is just the schematic design in the separate fee, which in the cost proposal revision we're going to request from the design team. We will have them break out that dollar to at least include a schematic design location for an auditorium as part of the overall concept, but that number will be broken out. And that I don't anticipate as being a very large number, at least initially. And again, hopefully at that point, then we can have some better direction on where the city may want to go with this in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Scott, that helps me tremendously. I'm sure it helps the other listeners, but that's the place. That's the path I choose to travel, knowing what's going to cost, and you have to look at it to know. Knocking it down without knowing is not to me viable.
Right, and either way, the direction to the design team will be, even if there's a short-term decision saying don't do the full design of an auditorium at this point, our intent is to still make sure that the final design will easily accommodate a future addition of an auditorium, that the building is designed to accept that. So even if they don't design it, we want to make sure that they plan for it so we don't box our way into a corner in the future. If it takes some time for the city to make a decision on how to proceed with a potential auditorium on this site. we want to make sure that we always have that option for it to be implemented. It's just a matter of timing.
Correct. Got it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Ray, 90-day look ahead.
It's pretty basic for the next 3 months. We're going to start the design process again. We've got a meeting in December. We got a meeting in January. So early February, we'll have schematics to show everybody. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ray. All right, everyone. Item number 7 is projects under consultant solicitation. We have Moyland, McDonough, and Parkville out now for owner's project management services. We just had a conference this morning, and I believe we're going to have a brief one this afternoon at 2. So that's happening. We're excited about that. Moving forward with those 3 schools. Any questions? Hearing none. Item number 8, everyone, is future projects. We're hoping to get some word next month whether Batchelder, Sand, and Sanchez have made the list. Any questions on that? Hearing none. Next is item number 9, project closeout. I'll touch base on Weaver. We're looking to close that project out. There's about $7 million of reimbursable money coming back to the city once we do so. We are working through the fire alarm system. Ms. Browdy, myself, Chief Davis Gouge, the city, and procurement are meeting with a third party, Van Zelm, on their evaluation of the documents. We are meeting next week, 12 o'clock on Tuesday, I believe, to go over what their findings are and hope to report next month to the committee on the Weaver fire alarm. Any questions on that?
I have a comment. I don't have a question.
Yes.
I'm hoping that we really do get through this. To the community, it seems like forever. We're about to have a new mayor, and hopefully we can get this out and presented, and whatever we have to do before Mayor Bronin leaves. This happened under his administration, and I'm hoping that this could be dealt with next month. It has gone on way too long.
Agreed, Ms. Browdy, and I hope the same. Any other questions, comments?
I think that was well put. Thank you.
Okay. Item number 10 on the agenda, other business. Anyone? Hearing none. Item number 11. My goodness, we're getting up there. Adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Ms. Browdy. The motion was from Mr. Silva. Roll call. Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Mr. Silva.
Yes.
Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
Mr. Gary.
Yes.
Chief Davis Gouge.
Yes.
All right. Appreciate you all.
Happy holidays.
Same
Happy
to you.
holidays.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.